welcome to RNN News. I'm your host, Pete Peterson. The top story this week is, of course, climate change. But unfortunately, it's been bumped for the other top story, the presidential inauguration. Or as it is lovingly referred to here in Roachington, that bizarre ritual humans do to pretend money isn't the most important thing in the universe. If that sounds weird, and it should, here's a picture of a human baby eating $1. No, Todd, you aren't going to college now. There's nothing wrong with learning a trade, and Mommy isn't going to strip your way through school, too. Now, hopefully we're okay to show Todd here. I'm not going to lie to you. We only have one guy on image rights, and based on his 6-minute Google search, we have no idea who this image actually belongs to. For the record, we haven't made a dime yet, so if you'd like a half-eaten bag of peanuts, comment on the link to this video with, "I am the one true rights holder, Todd," and then defeat everyone else who makes that identical claim in melee combat with the weapon of your choosing. Allegedly. Also of note, RNN News does not condone any acts of violence in any way, shape, or form, even if it's that asshole who cut you off on the way to get your hair did. We will, however, agree with you that he deserved the ticket he got for stealing your handicap spot. Now, the inauguration went largely as planned, meaning that the vast majority of the country that either didn't vote or voted against President Trump sat aghast at the isolationist rhetoric he used in his ascension to the most powerful role in the country. Next to citizen, of course. Turns out you really do matter. And not just to those children in the commercials who'd be thrilled to eat out of your garbage. But, in the interest of being fair and balanced, I'd like to take a bit of time here to examine some of the statements and see if we're really just being too hard on President Donnie. Okay. Now, it's safe to say that the jobs didn't leave due to some bizarre Illuminati plot of the government to make the rest of the world wealthy. Those jobs left because more profit could be made in countries where child labor is legal, workers have few rights, and the environment is something people fight on the way to work with their breathing holes covered with a mask to ensure that all that nasty old environment doesn't ruin their ability to finish out the day in a sweatshop. Despite the many drawbacks of the TPP, it was our one shot to continue to do business with these countries while attempting to draw them into some of the progress we've made in protecting citizens from the machinery of profit. To his point, the politicians did see a raise in pay, which they were allowed to vote on for themselves while actively opposing higher pay for the working poor. However, the largest profits were for the folks who left companies profiting from human misery to be government officials, in many cases still having ties to the industry they are now tasked with regulating. We're not fighting our government to wrestle a few hundred salaries away from the top elected officials as much as we are fighting for elected officials to no longer represent the companies who profited most by using the government against the interests of the people. It's almost like we have a fast food chain in charge of our labor. Oh, shit. Yeah, except that the people in our country who have experienced stagnant wages due to a lack of trickle-down from the record profits got a bit of sunshine in that they could now attain health care with pre-existing conditions. We're continually more able to find gainful employment over the last 8 years, and aside from the infighting that kept Republicans from forcing the rest of the country into some space-age Charles Bronson reimagining of Puritanism, they led relatively safe and productive lives in a country that steadily got better. Is that what we're trying to change? Progress? Day one, the vast majority of our people feel less safe, less secure in healthcare for their families, and that there is a complete lack of separation of church and state, as more fundamentalist religion sets policy due largely, oddly enough, to disagreeing with a fundamentalist religion. All right, here's another quote. Sounds nice, right? Well, this deceptively eloquent bit evokes the notion that if a large group of the national party decides you aren't patriotic due to a perceived lack of allegiance, they owe you no loyalty. Our founding fathers saw true patriotism as rebellion against banks and people who tell you aren't patriotic enough. I'm not that sure how we continually miss that in phrases like love thy neighbor that people swear are the root of our national identity. Yet we trundle on, Todd. You hear that, Todd? We trundle together. Now, all my evil vitriol aside, I did agree with many of the words said here, my favorites being, "We will follow those simple rules. Buy American and hire American." I'm sorry, my Trumpanese is terrible. I can only hope that after deconflicting his vast international empire, the president is able to continue the trajectory of reduced unemployment and rugged startups, like the multitudes of beard oil companies that are holding us together with their shoestring budgets and stylishly slick-faced bush sheen. But, like many other things the president has said in the past, we're going to have to wait and see. My only request is that when you know, don't forget. It matters. And to all those folks out there who may be pissed that we haven't built some bridge made out of the frozen tears of liberals to rejoin the burgeoning mass of pulsating veined madness across the Potomac, I'd like to remind you that you were only 27%. Sure, it took less to instate the SS, but if you look around you at all the pussy hats, and I don't mean the red redneck time machine slogan hats, I mean the ones worn by the mothers and sisters you think vanished into their own wombs, I hope you see that this is far from over. Sure, we couldn't pick easily between the two candidates who didn't remotely sit well with our conscience, but you aren't going to get a prize for picking the one with the least curb appeal. Sure, we will never agree to a brown people wall, but we will build a bridge, and you are more than welcome to join the rest of the humans in America after you realize that your trip to Crazy Town isn't going to make anyone but the cabinet who has more money than the lower third of your fellow man great in any way imaginable. As always, I apologize for not hand-feeding you the facts. Go learn shit. If I'm wrong, I'll own it. If you're wrong, you can cross that bridge when you can fucking see it. Have a great week. I'm out! If you enjoyed this programming, please purchase any of this shit here. If you're super angry, check out Hours of Decay. And if you're fucking tired of being angry, please check out Loyal Revival. It's pretty awesome. That said, those fine musicians aren't responsible for any of the bullshit we've said here. And if you like us attempting to tell you the truth without anyone's permission, please continue to support us. And keep your eyes peeled for The Roaches Show, coming soon to a sad 3 a.m. in the morning masturbating in front of your computer session near you.